Let's start first with the mission, right?
Okay.
So what's the mission for Thanksgiving?
No hungry kids.
Good idea.
What's the purpose?
It's no hungry kids. Simple mission. No hungry kids. 1 in 5 kids here don't eat unless they're at school, and I find that unacceptable in this community.
Yeah.
We live in a community of abundance. There's a lot of chubby folks, and to think that there's children going without food, I find that unacceptable. And I believe in fighting hunger for adults, but I also believe that adults make their beds and they should sleep in it. You know, that's they don't have the choice that these kids don't have that choice, and so they're victims. And I think about these hungry kids going to school or being without when we are blessed with so much. And so that's the mission. But just simply put, no hungry children.
Okay. Sounds
I
good.
can really get behind that, Robbie. That's a great mission.
Thanks.
Yeah, I agree. But so then from that mission, where did that come from? Where did that innate drive come from?
Well, 2 things. First, I've been raised to believe that I should leave the campsite, the world, anything where I'm at, a better place. My dad, when we were out camping, when we'd leave the campsite, we'd go police it, is what he'd call, and we'd pick up all the trash, even if it wasn't ours.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of morally ingrained to me that I want to leave this mortal coil, when I'm done here, a better place than how I found it.
I like that.
But on the other side, the story is that I was a boy in South Texas. We lived in a town called Porter, and we moved there, and my dad was an HVAC technician, and he went down there, and the company that he was working for, still in business by the way, wanted him to go to people's homes and check on their air conditioner and then upsell them things that they didn't need. And he told them no, and so they fired him. And we drove from Las Vegas down there, and we were in Porter, and we pretty much sold everything we had in order to get to Texas. And there we were. Dad was unemployed, and it was during the recession back then, and so there wasn't another job available for him, and so we were in a bad way.
You were how old? Sorry.
I was 11,
Okay.
12.
So conscious of what was going on at that point.
Not really. That's the magic part for me about the story is when all this was going down, I didn't know that we were poor. I didn't know that we were broke. I thought we were camping. I thought it was awesome.
Yes.
We're sleeping outside again? That's amazing. We're going to sleep in the truck again tonight? Yay. It never really occurred to me, and my mom and dad made it kind of that environment. There wasn't, and I'm a dad now, and I look at that and I think I'd be losing my mind.
Shitting my pants.
If I didn't know where the next meal was coming from, knowing that I couldn't even provide that food, broke, unemployed, no options, lost, destitute in a brand new city. We didn't know anybody, and it was.
Kudos to your parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
I admire the hell out of them because
Yeah,
as I look
that's
back as a parent, you have that
admirable.
perspective, right? Like,
Yes.
I worry about now, like I'm doing really well, and I still worry about that stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
And here they were in that terrible place. Christmas was coming. We were sleeping in the truck. It was getting cold, even for Houston. And a family showed up, the Christiansen family, and they said, "Come follow us. Come to our house." And so we loaded everything into the truck. You know what I mean? That was our house, and we followed them into a town called Kingwood, Texas. And the difference, Porter and Kingwood, I mean, it really couldn't have better names. Like, it was amazing. These people lived in a house that had a big window in the front of the house and the tree in the front of the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like in the movies. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like,
Picture
wow.
perfect.
Yeah, picture perfect. And under the tree kind of came down at an angle, and then there was presents that came down from that angle, and they were for my family. This family was from Utah, and every Christmas they would come home to spend time with their family, and so their house was going to be vacant for a week or two. I can't remember the time frame. And they just wanted us to live in the house. And there was no, like, don't go into the West Wing. You know, there was none of that.
Yeah.
It was like, this is your house. Enjoy it. The thing that really struck me most was that in the fridge, I remember opening that fridge, and there was the pumpkin pie with the whipped cream all the way around in the middle of Adele. And I remember turning around and looking at my mom, who was bawling, just crying. And I said, one day when I'm rich, Mom, I'm going to do this for somebody. And she said, Robbie, I know you will. And it was like a little bit of a contract I made with my mom. And we lived in that house, and we ate that food, and I had clothes. The clothes that I had before that day were the clothes that I wore to church, the Sunday clothes is what we called them, and my school clothes. One pair of clothes I would wear every single day. And man, those lunch ladies, they took good care of me. They knew that when I was coming in, I was hungry. I was ready to eat, and they would just load that plate up, and I got free breakfast and free lunch, and they would load that
Wow.
that tray up to like it was groaning because I was I was a growing boy. I was starving.
Yeah.
All
And
the
you
time.
weren't eating elsewhere.
Wasn't
That was
eating
your
at
food.
home. Yeah.
Wow.
And then on the weekend, my mom and dad would like somehow put together some like a bologna sandwich or something during the day, but it was one meal. And then on Sunday we would go, and church down there, everybody would bring it was like a potluck, because they had, the way that church worked is they had like a morning block and an afternoon block, and it was an hour and a half away to get to church. And so we'd get there and we'd just stay and have lunch, and then we'd come home, and that was it. And so we pretty humble. So now fast forward, I was a police officer. I was served in the Navy. I served in the Army. I did all these adventures, and I found my way to real estate. And it was my first or second year in the business, Kelly. I was working super hard and being like very blessed. Things were going good. There was a lot of short sales in the market. Like, it was just kind of a crazy time, just like it is now. And I was selling a lot of homes, and I was in a place of like the most abundance I'd ever had in my life. Like,
Right.
This is awesome. Like, I'm paying all my bills. I'm ahead sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, it was awesome.
worries.
No worries.
What a concept.
And my mom gets diagnosed with brain cancer in June, and she kind of became incredibly mortal. If you've ever been around someone who has their mortality, she refused to get any chemo. She didn't want to get healed. She was ready. Like, I don't want to go through all that, Rob. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And she died in October, so June to October. But in that period of time, she said, Rob, you need to quit talking about doing this and get to it. Called me out. And so I said, okay, well, I think I'll feed 10 families. And I went and talked to the schools around Christmas, and they're like, Rob, man, we're buried at Christmas. There's nothing, there's no opportunity. There's a lot of generosity happening at Christmas time. And I'm like, well, what about Thanksgiving? And she's like, nobody does Thanksgiving. Nobody's taking care of these kids at Thanksgiving. It's like a forgotten holiday. And,
Everyone thinks about it during Christmas,
Yeah.
and then beyond that,
that's it.
slips their mind.
And so I said, well, how many kids need this help? Because I thought I've lived everywhere in the world pretty much, and Utah seems to me like it's a very abundant, wealthy place. And she told me then 1 in 7 kids don't eat unless they're at school. And I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. I thought, how is that even possible here in Utah, the land of milk and honey, Zion? Every kid should be well fed. And so I was just really very surprised. And so I said, well, I'm going to raise enough money to feed 10 families, and can you find those families for me? And she's like, yeah, we can do that. And I thought, I'm going to go to the store. Back then it was about $80 to buy a turkey, 10 pounds of potatoes, a gallon of milk, a pound of butter, the rolls, the veggie tray, the olives, all of the stuff that is included in a Utah Thanksgiving. Olives, I don't know, weirdos.
Funeral potatoes?
funeral
Right.
potatoes with the onions on top.
Right.
Yeah, green beans, the whole thing. About $80, and so I'm like, okay, I can come up with $800, and then I'm gonna go buy the groceries. They'll give me the names. I told my friend Joe, hey man, I'm thinking about doing this, and he wrote me a check, and he's like, I want to do 10 families. Like, right now, he wrote me a check, and I was like,
Boom.
all right. So I called up the school district. Can we do 20 families? Yeah, we can do 20 families. That first year, I fed 755 families.
Nice.
Wow.
Because I can't shut up. If you know me, I'm telling you about, and if I'm excited about it, guess what I'm doing? Guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what? Oh my God, this is going to
Pray
be so
tell,
much fun.
good sir.
Oh my God.
Spread the good word.
So that first Thanksgiving, I did it on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Not really understanding how this worked. I just thought, I'm gonna check that karmic box. I didn't realize that kids get off on Friday and they don't eat Saturday, Sunday. I would deliver the money on Monday, and then I would deliver the food on Tuesday, and they would have enough food. It was about 65 pounds of food that we deliver right to their house. And I didn't know, how am I gonna get their addresses? The gal, her name was Nancy Adams at the Jordan School District. And she was just logistically on top of it. I was just like
Shout out
raising money.
Nancy.
I had no idea like how it was going to work.
Right.
So the day of the event, I woke up, I sat up in bed, and I'm like, how am I going to unload the truck? What if nobody shows up? I had all these fears, and I went down. I did it at the one of the Jordan school district's extra like curricular, where they teach like beauty school and shop and all these different things. It's right there on 126 South. And I went in, and these ladies had like signs up, potatoes, turkeys, it was organized.
It all came together for you, right?
Yeah, they put it together for me, and I was just so amazed at how well it worked. And unloading the truck, it was like a fireman's line, and I had all these people show up because I was talking about it on social media like I do every day. Just random people, I had no idea who they were like, yeah, I'm here to help unload turkeys. all right, giddy up. And then cars started coming into the parking lot right around 8:30 when I was talking about it in the morning, and we just started loading. There was the Jordan High School cheerleaders showed up, or one of the high schools, and so they were out there like schlepping milk, and it was just like this huge all hands on deck.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Mayhem. No, there was no system. It was just craziness. And we were loading up the cars, and I would have a piece of paper with this child's name on it and an address, and I'd be like, okay, go get it. And I went to the school district, and every time I would get an increase or a donation, I'd call the school district, can we do 100 now? They're like, yeah. Can we do 700 now? Yeah. And so it was like,
Awesome.
that it even happened was kind of a miracle on so many levels,
Yeah.
just like bananas
Yeah.
that it went down. And then I'm like, okay, well, I've done it. I've checked my box. My mom would be proud of me. You know what I mean? Like, she had passed away like the month before at her
man.
funeral. I
It
could
was
just
all- it
imagine
was,
her
like,
looking
meant
down
to
from
be.
heaven, just being like, that's my boy.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And every boy, I don't care who you are, kind of wants to make their mom proud.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like in my wiring. And I just thought of that, like, okay, I've done my thing. Good. Now a year goes by. It's about 60 days before Thanksgiving, and I get a call from this lady, and she's like, Rob, where are you doing Thanksgiving's Heroes? And I'm like, I'm not. Like, I'm done. That was like
I did it last year.
Yeah.
Did you name it that first year?
Yeah, I
Thanksgiving
named it
Heroes.
Thanksgiving Heroes.
Okay.
Thanksgiving
That was your
Heroes. It had an
Thanksgiving.
S in it back then.
That was your mistake.
Yeah.
Named it, and
Named
everyone's
it.
like, it's a thing
It's
now.
a thing. It's a real thing. And this lady called me, and she's like, Rob, last year my husband left me right before the holidays, and I was standing in the grocery store when the school district called me, and I was trying to decide, do I pay for rent? Me and my 2 daughters, do I pay for rent, or do I buy food? And now I'm on my feet. I've got a job. I'm paying the bills. Like, it wasn't. I'm not surprised this year by being left alone, and I want to pay it forward. I'd like to do a donation, and then I'd like my daughters and I to come and deliver food. And I had this moment, like this download moment, like, huh,
This could just be perpetual.
that's why I did it.
It's bigger than you.
Yeah, that's the exact reason I did it. I was paying it forward. This isn't about the food, is it? It's not about a turkey.
Oh.
It's about an opportunity for this family to look that family in the eye and say, you matter.
Yeah.
I love you. There's hope,
Unity.
unity,
Yes.
to build this like community. And I had this like weird, I don't know if you want to call it the spirit or God touching my mind, but it was like, this is what I made you for. This is why I put you on this earth, Rob. And I had this moment of clarity, like, nothing else mattered. If I do this and I do it well, everything else in my life will add up. Like, my kids will be taken care of, my business will be fine. It will all add up. And this is what God made me to do. And here I am 9 years later. Sorry.
It's amazing.
It's just so powerful to me.
It really is.